Hi, everyone. Kate Byars here, founder of Corporate Women Unleashed. And we are talking on our broadcast today about burnout and how burnout is preventing women from really climbing up in their career and getting into the executive ranks. So diversity is a huge issue, a huge topic that we're all talking about in the business world right now. And the way that we see diversity approached many times is we need more initiatives. We need more corporate initiatives and programs to bring women up through the ranks. Well, I love that. Certainly that external means of supporting women is fantastic. However, what we see from our side is many women choosing not to pursue leadership positions or stopping before they get into that executive level. And we have had many, many women tell us, like, I'm looking up there at the executive suite, and that's the last place I want to be. And this is really tragic. Because women, we have a lot to contribute. We have a lot to contribute, okay? So why is that happening? Well, first thing I want to talk about is the difference between men and women a little bit, because obviously men burn out as well. But what we see very often with women is that we're not able to compartmentalize as well as men, okay? And men, quite frankly, have been working at the executive level en masse a lot longer than we have. And what women will often do, because we're raised from childhood and in our culture very often to be good girls, we're raised to be multitaskers, we're raised to be nurturers. These things are not innate. We're raised that way. This is all cultural, guys. Is that as we take on more and more in life, we go from college to grad school, and then we have a boyfriend, and then a partner, whatever. We have a dog, cat, kids, stuff, like things keep happening. Aging parents. We take on more and more as women, and we don't know how to disconnect, right? That is the issue. And so we don't know how to disconnect. So we don't take care of ourselves. We multitask. And so, it's that spinning plates visual, right? You get all these plates spinning in the air, and it just keeps spinning and spinning and spinning. And then you add another plate, another plate, another plate, another plate, where, we could all have a good giggle about this. Again, I don't want to make this a big feminist thing, but a lot of times with guys, they put down that plate and then they pick up the next plate, and they put down this plate and pick up the next one, right? We don't do that. We don't do that. And the reason we don't do that, ladies, is it's in our psychology. In our psychology, we believe, because we're told we're supposed to be able to do it all, because we're supposed to be nurturing, we're supposed to be taking care of people while we're taking care of our team, while we're taking care of our family, while we're taking care of, all the different things, that's supposed to be what we do. And so we think that, okay? So if you believe that, if you believe that's healthy, if you believe that's what you're supposed to be doing, if it's difficult for you to, AKA put the plate down for a while and then pick up the next plate, then you can't disconnect. And over and over and over again, we work with women. Literally hundreds of women have told us, Kate, I've tried over and over again to delegate. I've tried to put up boundaries. I have tried to stop working on weekends. I've asked for more resources. I've meditated, I've gone to therapy. I've done these things, and I find myself right back in this position where work overshadows my private life, and I can't do it anymore. And I'm quitting, and I'm done. I'm done. And so we're losing women for this fact. Okay. So yeah, it's great that we want to have more programs that encourage women up the ladder and make room for women and help the guys see the value of having women at the leadership table. But if we're not there to actually accept the position, or we believe, women, ladies, that we believe that in order to have, that leadership position, that we have to be overweight, divorced, our children have to be, away in boarding school, and we can't have a hobby or any personal interests of any kind. If that's what we believe that seat requires, then obviously we're either going to step back, or it's a really unhappy place to be. I mean, who's looking at that and getting excited? There's no health, there's no well-being in that. And ultimately what we want as executives is to have well-lived life. Well, not just as executives, anyone wants a well-lived life. I want to look back when I'm 80, 90, and 100 and go, man, that was a ride. That was amazing. I had an exceptional life. And the women we work with, that's kind of their hallmark, right? The women we work, I want freedom, I want fulfillment, I want to have an exceptional life. I know I can create what I want out of this world. I just need to know what's going on upstairs to fix that. And it's just habits, guys. It's habits, and it's in our psychology that you can't compartmentalize, you can't put things down, you're not allowed to put up boundaries. The other piece beyond the habit of thinking, actually, let me explain that a little bit more. I want to go in deeper there. When I talk about psychology, when I talk about habits, those are kind of two different things, because habits are more actions and psychology is more as a way of thinking. Think of it this way, okay? If you believe that moving up the ladder requires you to do more and more and more and more, and you don't know how to shift the way you work, first you got to shift the way you think. So think of it in very, very easy terms like this. If you, my daughter and I, we both used to have, we had horses. That was her thing growing up, and she was a teenager. And one of the things that used to kill me is I would meet people and I would say, oh, we ride, we've got Arabians. Well, oh gosh, I could never ride a horse. And I was like, well, why not? Oh, well, I fell off one when I was a child and I'm terrified of them. Okay, that's psychology. Okay, for every one horse that you fall off, there's, thousands of horses that you would never fall off. And you've all probably experienced something like this in your life, right? You fell off your bike, you fell on roller skates, you fell down skiing, and now you don't want to go skiing, or now you don't want to get on roller skates, or now you don't want to get back on the horse, right? That's psychology. That psychology is a lens, a way of thinking that says, this is what happens. This is objective reality, and it's not. So think of it that way, ladies. The reason we're burning out and we're not accepting these senior assignments is because we believe the only way to work is the way we're working, which is to multitask, which is we can't disconnect. We can't put our phones down. We can't take a night off. We can't skip a meeting. We can't say we're not going on a business trip. I can't tell you how long I did that. I mean, I thought I had to be everywhere all at once. And I was talking to a former boss of mine. We worked together about 20 years ago, and we had lunch, earlier last year. And we were just laughing about how we both worked so much. And she goes, nobody really told us that we could say no. I'm like, I know. And the sad thing was someone had to tell us. We couldn't figure that out for ourselves. That's psychology. It's a belief in our mind that we are doing everything that we're supposed to be doing. And the only way to have this level of success, this level of challenge, this level of fulfillment is to be working the way we're working. Okay. And this is why we're giving up our health. This is why we have executive pounds. This is why we need to lose 50 pounds. This is why our spouses are we're either single because we've never taken the time to date, or our spouse or partner is saying, hey, what's this all for? I don't get it. Like, when can the real you come back? Why am I always having to be, second, third, fourth on your list? The only reason we would ever do that, because we're not trying to do it intentionally, is psychology. Okay. It's a belief system. And that is why it's so hard to break. You can meditate, you can go to therapy, you can try different delegation techniques, but ultimately you never take it far enough because of that belief system, that psychology. Okay. And so again, it was given to you from childhood, not your fault, but now that you know about it, you can do something about it. Right. So part of it is you've got to learn how to disconnect, and disconnecting means you have to be able to say, the best thing I can do for myself and my career and for the company and my team right now is to walk away. I need to walk away. I need to pour something else into me right now. It might be health. It might be water. It might be alone time so you can think. It might be connection time because you're really missing people that you love and you want to get connected or revitalized in a group situation or whatever it is. You have to know when you need that and sense it and proactively create it for yourself, or recognize it in the moment and feel 100% confident that you can reshape your day to get that met. Does that make sense? And guys do it all day long, okay? You have to know that you need that. And it doesn't mean that guys don't have back-to-back meetings and that, they're not stressed out executives. All this stuff happens to us, but they're just much better at compartmentalizing and saying, yeah, I'm going to be 15 minutes late for that meeting. I've got to take a quick call, or yeah, I'm out of here today. It's an early day and I'm going to, go play golf or whatever it is, right? Being very stereotypical, but you get my point. We don't do that because when we get off at 3:00, God forbid we do, then we don't know what to do. We're like, oh, well, should I, go mother? Should I go pick up an ailing parent? Should I buy groceries? We just do more stuff. We don't ever really disconnect and pour that energy into ourselves. And so it's like being a marathon runner, and you're continuing to run this marathon, and you've been doing it and you've been winning races your whole life, right? In your 20s, your 30s, now you're in your 40s, you're still running this race, but you forgot to get some new tools because you've been running it for 20 years, right? You forgot that you need to rest. And so you're running, you're still strong, but you're running slower and slower, and people are passing you by. right? And we see this all the time. And that's the other thing that's really discouraging, because what usually comes hand in hand with this is not only do women feel like their quality of their life is being diminished and sacrificed, but you're seeing other people shoot past you. And it's like, wait a minute, how did they get the energy to do that when I'm sitting here 50 pounds overweight, with absolutely compromising my relationships and feeling like a one-dimensional woman? It's because you're running a race and you're not refueling yourself. You have to disconnect, and you've got to fill yourself up with what you need. And again, you got to know what you need. I think that's another big problem, that as high achievers don't know what we need. The other thing I wanted to bring up, so that's mindset. That is your psychology. The other piece where we see, ladies, that we step away too soon, or not intentionally, it's just we don't know what else to do, is that we step away from our careers because we don't know how to say no and create boundaries. Just like that conversation I was just telling you about my boss and I. What happens is we never say no, 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 we just do all this work, we do this, and then we get to this point in our life where we're like, I've had enough. And we either have a break and we say, I've got to have a sabbatical, I've got to quit my job, I just got to have a break. And we jump out of our career, okay? Or what happens is we go the opposite direction. And we work with some women who are now just such glass chewing, like, no, we bring too much emotion to it because we're angry and we're resentful. And it's been so long since we've said no. It's so long since we've said, I don't know how to create a boundary. Is then we create these hypersensitive boundaries that are just like, oh my goodness. And unfortunately, ladies, there's a double standard. I mean, I wish there wasn't. I wish I could say that there's not, but many times we are too forceful. We are too abrupt. I know one time in my career, I had a senior executive tell me that I was, what was it? He said, he said, is there any way I could tone it down because I was too smart and which was threatening the other members of the leadership team. And what he was really saying is, Kate, you're just a little on edge. You got a bit of an edge to you, Kate. Can you tone it down a little bit? It wasn't about being too smart, but what was happening was, it was like, I was always on. We got to do this. We got to do this. We got to do this. And no, we can't do this. And yes, we can do this. And no, I can't do that. And I was getting worn down and not seeing it. And so the only way I could protect myself, because I didn't know how to disconnect, I didn't know how to create flow for myself, and I didn't know how to communicate effectively, was that I was getting too much of an edge. And it was being noticeable. And it obviously didn't do me any favors, right? I was not making friends on the leadership team when I did that. So we see that with women too, is we don't actually know how to say no or create a boundary or say like, not now. Hey, that sounds great. I'm not gonna be able to make that meeting. Or, ooh, amazing project, but not now. We don't know how to do that. And guys are, again, they're more singular focused, and they're very, very, very good at that. So if you are an executive woman and your well-being is suffering, your private life is suffering, it is not where you want it to be. Okay. I think none of us like to admit that we're suffering. If your private life is not where it wants to be, and you know that your career is taking a toll, you know that it's difficult for you just to disconnect, you have to start disconnecting. Otherwise you will either give up your personal life, you'll damage your personal life, right? And not achieve the things that you want in your personal life, and not see success there, and be able to look back and say, this was a well-lived life. Or what's going to happen is you're going to implode your career. Like we see that over and over. It's one or the other. And ladies, it doesn't have to be here, and it doesn't have to be here. It can be up here. There's a small group of people who are saying, I'm not going to live that way anymore. I'm not going to accept this and this. But again, it starts with your psychology, because if you accept that there has to be that trade-off, obviously you're never going to see that there's another solution. Okay. Now, if you're an executive woman who is being, your career is overshadowing your private life, I want to encourage you to book a call with myself and our team. What we do on these calls, it's about 45 minutes, is it's actually a lot of fun. We take you through what's going on in your career. We ask you a lot of really great questions to get you thinking about what's going on, and really try to find some root causes, right? What is happening that's making your career dominate your personal life? And then what can be done about it? Obviously, if what we do can help you, we'll suggest that, and we'll tell you about it. But if not, a lot of times what we do is we suggest other resources. It could be something that we suggest that you read. It could be some other mentor or advisor or program that we think would be a great fit for you. But ultimately, what we want you to do is we want every high achieving woman who has success. You've already achieved success, right? You got that piece dialed in your career, but now you're not enjoying it. We want you to enjoy it, because it should not come with the sacrifice. So if that's you, just book a call with our team. And if you are someone who's listened to this broadcast, whether it's live or in recording, pass it on. Tag someone underneath, share it. We've got a YouTube channel now where we're hosting all of these videos. So you'll see this there. You can jump over to YouTube and watch any of these videos that we're doing. So just pass it on, right? Pay it forward, because you may not need this message, but there may be another woman out there who does. And again, I'm Kate Byars, founder of Corporate Women Unleashed. Today, we've been talking about burnout and how it's preventing women from rising up into the executive ranks. And I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.